All right, we up in here.
One more
We are live.
video, and we are well.
Happy November, everybody.
First video of November, huh?
Yes.
Election day.
Is today like our election wire kind of thing, or what?
Election day. Yeah, I wish we could, live stream
That would be really cool.
the whole
That would
day,
be really
just
cool.
be like talking about it, like some other channels. But
some other more professional channels.
But that's just not the case for us this
catch up
year.
to.
This year, that's just not the case for us this year.
So yeah, in 4 years, I hope that we would be able to do that.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Chance we could do that.
A few things to talk about. We'll keep it short today. But
Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who watched our video last week. We got, I think, almost 550 or 600 views.
Closer to 600 views. That is crazy.
That is really crazy.
That is so crazy.
In fact, I honestly thought nobody wanted to watch us, and I even thought it was just kind of a goofy thing, this Halloween costume ranking. Literally thought we're going to get maybe 100 views.
Yeah. Even if it was by accident.
Are you literally over there watching on repeat?
For a little bit I was. But I found out that, it's one view per account. So I promise you those are not my bots.
Doesn't do anything.
I haven't paid anybody to watch my videos. I maybe threatened some people, but as far as bots, no. That was actual hundreds of people like kind of saw a nice thumbnail. I think I'm proud of the last thumbnail. I think we did a good job with that one.
That was pretty funny.
That was
pretty good.
That was definitely one for the books.
Some of the comments were pretty funny too as well, I might say.
Yeah, they were really funny. What an election season, am I right? What a run. We went from
Wait, before that though.
What's up?
I think that if we could get 1,000 views, I think we should probably do something.
Yes, if we hit that 1,000 view mark on either this video or the next one, whatever,
any video, I guess.
On any video, you want to go ahead and reveal the special idea that we have?
Well, I mean, I'm open to you guys actually commenting and giving us some ideas. I was thinking maybe we'd sing a song, or
thank you song.
I'll pull out my guitar or something like that, or what you wanted to do was like 1,000 burpees or something crazy, or jump into ice tub.
Yeah, or jump into some cold water.
I don't know if I like.
We don't really know what the challenge is gonna be or what the reward is gonna be for having hit 1,000 views, but if we do, there's obviously gonna be a video for it and us celebrating that video. Subscribe to the video, comment on the video, like the video, share this video with somebody that you consider a friend, and yeah, help us reach our goal.
Yeah, and moving on, let's talk about the election. I mean, it's today.
Yeah, today, November 5th, 2024. What a wild ride. We went from Biden Trump to Harris Trump, a couple of
unalive attempts.
Yes, there's just a lot going on, but we've all survived. We're all here, and we're about to find out very soon who the winner is.
It seems like we never know on the day of the election, which drives me crazy that we don't ever know. You have to go to bed and wake up and then still wait another 12 hours, it seems, to get the final confirmation. Drives me crazy. I don't know why the greatest country on the planet cannot figure out who the president is on the same day we vote. But
immediately.
It is what it is.
Especially knowing that we have, millions of people who vote early, as I did. I think you did too, right?
No. I have my ballot. I have it filled out. I haven't turned it in yet.
Okay.
But I like that feeling. I feel like, just as an immigrant myself, this feeling of taking the ballot, putting it into the box, and I get a real sense of pleasure out of this activity, knowing that I did
civic duty.
Right. It's not, I just threw it in the mailbox, but it's that I drove somewhere, put it in, and I feel special because we worked so hard to come into the country. We worked so hard to get the citizenship. My parents literally filed for my green card the moment I was born. It took 10 plus years or
long
something.
work.
So it was work.
Yeah, I like to vote early. My brother likes to vote early. That's just how he's been doing it for a while. So I just copy him. I was a ballot volunteer for the 2020 election. I got a behind the scenes of what it looks like to actually take care or like guide people to these little voting booths and walk them in and walk them out of the building. I think I was at a church. The voting building was a church, but sometimes it's a community center. Yeah, depending on where you live, it can vary, but it was a really exciting experience, and I got paid for it. I got a stipend of about $150 for 6 hours of work.
It took me a long time to be able to vote because I was a citizen by right the first time I walked into a voting booth. I was just like, I was
Yeah,
actually
there's
joking.
just
I was literally joking about it. I was like, any Trump voters here? Literally, everyone's in full panic
great.
mode. So I learned not to do that this time around. I promise I won't.
When I was volunteering, there was some etiquette. People were silent. There wasn't too much talking.
Right. Somebody should have told me that, but
Yeah, I think it's like 100 feet from whatever building the voting is taking process. Like there can't be any cameras because of fear of electioneering. And
oh,
yeah,
okay.
so it's a really like
Yeah, I
it's
didn't know that.
handled with care. This whole process. So yeah, please go vote. You still have time. I think most places close in between the hours of like 4 to 8, maybe some places 9. So find out when is the closing time for where you
Yeah.
live. You can register and vote the same day, so that is a complete, realistic process. And
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if everyone
please
should
make
vote, though,
sure.
to be honest.
Why not?
I generally wish that people would vote once they turn 25 and on.
Interesting. Why do you believe that?
I think that most of us, just the way our brains work, our brains finish developing around the age of 25. So I also think that at that age, most likely you're also working. You're more likely to have paid your taxes, you're paying rent. Maybe you bought a car, you're paying for your car. You have a sense of how money works. You have your brain that's more matured and developed. I think that's about a good time for you to start thinking about how to vote, or you probably had more chances to think about how to vote. But that is a very hot take.
I believe that, and this is from personal experience, a lot of people actually don't vote. I don't know
Yes.
if you know people that are like that, but a lot of people actually decide not to, part of the process, even if their vote is not going to count for whatever reason they have, but they just choose not to because they're standing for a cause or whatever. It was a very difficult task to get the vote of every citizen, and there was many struggles throughout history, all the way going from monarchies to where you couldn't make a decision for where you live to where you actually could make a decision from where you live, right? We saw that transition. So I think that more people should be able to vote. I don't agree that 18 should be the voting age. I would agree that 21 is actually better than 18, just because you're able to develop more of your body, and just mentally you get to gain a greater insight for how the world actually works and all the nuances that come with that.
Some people at 21 haven't even worked a day in their life. They're still going through school or things like that.
Yeah,
And
a lot of people, I mean,
so,
never work until they're in their late 20s, for example.
right.
Never have participated in anything
And also,
aside from school.
I understand the argument when it comes to people saying that at 18 you can be drafted as a man and you should be able to vote if you feel that if you're being able to draft somebody to war. I suppose if I were 18, I would like to be able to have a say in that.
Who decided that 18 was a good age to vote? And just with a super simple, quick Google search, you find out the age of 18 became the legal age of adulthood in the United States in response to the Vietnam War, when Congress lowered the voting age from 21 to 18 in 1971. Right? So
I
voting
understand the
at
sentiment, yeah.
yeah, so we just wanted more people to be able to be drafted, and to vote for a specific idea at that time, right?
Well, I mean, the
That
same amount of people were being drafted because once you turn 18, the American government has the right to draft you. But my issue mainly is I think when you turn 25, that's when you're more mature. Things that should make more sense to you begin to make more sense to you. And I think that we could have certain exceptions. For example, let's say if you pay rent or you pay a mortgage, if you work a full-time job, I think you should be given the right to vote. And also, if you are in the military, you should be given the right to vote even if you're 18. And I'm totally okay with that. I think it's important that when you use money, that's when you know how money affects your life as well as the economy in itself. But when you don't have money and you're just essentially taking what your
right,
parents give to you,
right.
you're still living in this kind of pseudo
Bubble.
reality.
In my opinion, it's like a little bubble, right?
Right,
Even
right.
for a lot of people who are in college. I
Yeah.
mean, you are protected by
Yeah.
college, and you
I've
follow their
spoken to
rules.
college students that have no clue how money works. And I even talked to somebody who one time said to me, the reason why they want to go to USC which is a private school that costs probably like $60,000 a year. And she said to me, the reason why she wants to go to USC is so that she can move out of her parents' home to be independent. And I said, oh, okay, who's paying for USC? And she said, my parents. You want to be independent by going to a private school and have your parents pay for that private school. And she was 20 years old, transferring from a junior college. And I just thought that was a very silly answer, that she just completely had no idea how money worked. And I'm like, yes, but she can also vote.
I would be the first person to say that I am the most childish at times. Sometimes I even act on impulsivity, not necessarily reason. And I look around me at the people around my age, and I can, basically say the exact same thing. I do think that, a lot of 18-year-olds are completely immature and don't really consider anything about the future. All they focus on is the present, right? I think this is a stereotype for younger people. They can only see the present, but what about 5 years down the line? What about 10 years down the line? I think the older you get, you start to gain a better grasp of the bigger picture of life. And you do see how some of your own decisions can affect you down the road. Right?
I actually even think that adults still go through that too. So I'm not really hardline about this 25-year-old thing. I don't care one way or the other that much, but I do see even like adults, they grow through a process, and you have people who
I know
are
a lot of
left-leaning,
30-year-olds
moving
that are
right, or
that are
right-leaning, moving left, and that's part of the growth process, right? Like, for example, Joe Rogan, what was it like last night in the middle of nowhere, just finally chose to take a stance and endorsed Trump, which
on Twitter.
which, by the way, you have to remember that he's also somebody who for years and years said he wouldn't even have him on the show because he, quote unquote, doesn't want to help him. And he also had a little bit of that kind of like orange man, bad kind of thing going on with Trump. But then eventually
there was a switch.
His process.
There was a switch.
I know that I'm saying it sounds like growth or something, but I'm saying he went through his process of thinking of and deciding which candidate he wanted to endorse, right? Which is something I think it's interesting.
And then he had Trump, he had Vance, he had Elon just last night, and
that's true.
He talked about how he wanted to have Harris on. He wanted to have her. He wanted to have a conversation with her, right? Because we want to be able to actually know who this person is,
right?
And
she also had all these stipulations.
I listened to his words. She wanted to have things
outside of his studio, so it had to be at a studio she approved, basically. Right?
Nobody has ever filmed a Joe Rogan episode unless it's in his studio, unless it's in his place.
At least that I know of.
We talked about how so many times that it's not like Joe Rogan gets to interview people. People get to interview Joe.
Yes.
They get to speak.
I think that's the difference. Whereas, like, for example, if it's Jimmy Fallon, he gets to interview these celebrities, and we almost look at it as like, oh, what a cool job that he gets to interview these people.
Yeah.
But they're on a value. It's that these are higher value people than him. And the people who are quote unquote celebrities are lucky enough to be interviewed by him.
It's a coveted seat to be across.
But I've never seen that before. There's no other show on the planet that the guy who's interviewing you is
making you excited.
Exactly.
He's making them excited.
It's like, oh my goodness, I'm finally big enough to be on the Joe Rogan show. That's kind of crazy. I've never seen anything like that. It is
definitely an I made it moment.
Yes.
And he's very special about who he has on, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he doesn't have just anybody on.
Trump getting on Joe Rogan's show, and somehow they're on equal footing. Because generally Trump, anytime he's on any show, he's kind of the big attraction, even if you hate him. You love to hate him, or you love him, or whatever, but he is the attraction. You cannot deny it. He is the guy that drew the numbers. And somehow Joe Rogan was on equal footing with him. And in fact, I would even argue that Trump was probably more happy to be on Joe's show than the other way around.
Oh, he definitely saw it as a privilege. And those 3 hours went by so quick. So quick. I mean, one of our friends talked about it. Look, that's how interviews should be, you know? That you should allow people to actually speak their mind and express all their ideas and have the time.
Isn't
and
that
be
the best
with
thing
them.
Though? To have these long form discussions. Generally speaking, I feel like if the conversation flows like that, it's super enjoyable. I literally had it on. It was very enjoyable for me because I just thought it's funny because he started talking about him being on this flight. And,
you know what it reminds
and all
me
of
of?
that, and it's just about him. It's not the politics, but it's just like, who's this guy?
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
And it really reminds me of, going to visit with my parents, some family member, and we would stay there until late at night. I would be playing with my cousins or something, and I would see my parents and whoever we were visiting, talk until deep hours of the night,
Yeah,
until like
yeah,
1, 2, 3. I mean, at that time, I just wanted to leave, right? Because I was so bored. But I would look over at them and at their faces and how engaged they were in
yeah,
just simple conversation, which I think is it's almost like soul healing or soul
yeah.
purifying or soul curating,
And
to
I
have
think,
the
and
ability to
especially now that
talk
you're an adult, you have those special moments.
where you do
Sometimes
know
it's maybe
something.
maybe once every 6 months you have somebody you're talking to, and it's just so deep and so real. I think it's really cool when you have those moments.
Very special. Please go vote.
If you're
Please.
25, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, you
If
can
you're
vote. If you're
21
18, do you?
or 18
Do you?
and
Just don't mess it up for us, bro.
yeah, don't screw it up. You know who to vote for, and thank you so much for watching.
Do you? Okay. Bye.
Please subscribe. Please like and comment. Thank you.